Hello and welcome, dear listener. I'm glad you've joined me today on this journey of discovery, a journey not to distant lands, but into the very landscape of the mind. In our fast-paced world, we often equate intelligence with quick answers, standardized tests, or flashy displays of knowledge. But what if true intelligence goes far deeper than what appears on the surface? What if intelligence is as much about the calm, measured strength of one's inner life as it is about external achievements? Drawing upon the timeless wisdom of Stoic philosophy, we will explore 6 traits commonly found in those who exhibit high intelligence, not merely in the academic sense, but in the rich, holistic sense that encompasses self-mastery, clarity of thought, and unshakable resilience. Why does this topic matter? Because intelligence lived well can be a lantern in the darkest storm, a steady hand when the world swirls around us. And by reflecting on these traits, you'll not only recognize them in others, but cultivate them within yourself. So settle in, take a slow breath, and prepare your mind for a Stoic look at the qualities that make certain individuals stand out, not just for what they know, but for how they live. 1. A relentless curiosity. Have you ever noticed how a child's eyes light up with wonder at the simplest of things? A ladybug crawling along a leaf, the swirl of colors in a soap bubble, the whisper of the wind through the trees. That unbridled sense of wonder is the very spark of human greatness. Yet as we grow older, the world's pressures, deadlines, responsibilities, the chatter of social expectations tend to snuff out that flame. The Stoics remind us that true intelligence is not merely the accumulation of facts, but the ever-renewing impulse to question, to explore, to see the extraordinary in the ordinary. Marcus Aurelius, in the quiet hours of his tent on a battlefield, asked himself, "How little of what I say is necessary? How little of what I see is essential?" He wasn't indulging in intellectual vanity, he was practicing relentless mental inquiry, stripping away assumptions to reveal the core of reality. This is curiosity in its purest form, not idle curiosity, but disciplined wonder directed at life's deepest mysteries. Epictetus, born into slavery yet free in spirit, taught that a man can't learn what he thinks he already knows. How often do we pat ourselves on the back for our knowledge, only to close our ears to new insights? High intelligence demands a beginner's mind, perpetually open, perpetually ready to be surprised. It means stepping outside our echo chambers, listening to viewpoints that unsettle us, engaging with questions for which we have no ready answer, deliberately courting discomfort in the service of understanding. Seneca captures the emotional power of this pursuit when he writes, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." Curiosity, then, is an antidote to fear. When we ask, "How does this work?" or "What lies beyond my current understanding?" we replace the dark corridors of anxiety with the guiding light of inquiry. Each question is an invitation to step into the unknown, bravely mapping out our mental terrain. This trait is not passive, it is an active calling. In practical terms, it looks like carving out time each day to read passages that challenge you, to keep a journal of questions no matter how small, and to pursue at least one new topic until it feels familiar. It might mean asking a colleague to explain an aspect of their expertise, then probing until you grasp the kernel of meaning. It might mean, as Marcus Aurelius did, pausing throughout your day to ask, "What value do I find in this moment? What lesson does it hold?" Emotionally, this relentless curiosity fuels a sense of wonder that revitalizes the spirit. It replaces the dull ache of routine with the vibrant pulse of discovery. When we cultivate curiosity, our inner world expands. Each new understanding becomes a steady hand that guides us through life's storms. We learn not simply to react to events, but to engage them thoughtfully, mining even adversity for its hidden treasures of insight. In this way, curiosity becomes the architect of wisdom. It chisels away at the hardened structures of complacency, revealing the living, breathing intelligence that resides within every human heart. So today, I invite you to listen for those quiet questions that arise within you. Nurture them, let them grow, for in doing so, you kindle the bright flame of intelligence, one that no storm can extinguish. 2. Unyielding self-discipline. Unyielding self-discipline is the sturdy keel beneath the vessel of intelligence. unseen yet indispensable in the Stoic tradition. Discipline isn't a burdensome chain, but the very path to freedom, a paradox that lies at the heart of our inner strength. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "No man is free who is not master of himself, for without self-command, we are tossed about by impulses and desires at the mercy of every passing whim." Imagine intelligence as a lantern. Without discipline, its light is scattered. With discipline, it casts a focused beam, illuminating the path ahead. At its core, self-discipline is the deliberate choosing of long-term values over fleeting pleasures. Epictetus, once a slave yet free in spirit, teaches us, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." Here, what you would be is not an abstract dream, but a set of concrete daily actions. Rising a bit earlier for reflection, dedicating focused time to learning, resisting the siren call of distractions. Each act of self-restraint, small though it may seem, is a declaration of sovereignty over your mind. Seneca captures the emotional undercurrent of discipline when he writes, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." There is a quiet urgency in this observation, a call to use our hours with intention, rather than allow them to slip away in restless scrolling or idle complaints. Self-discipline, then, is an act of love for life itself, cherishing each moment as an opportunity to shape our character and deepen our understanding. Consider how discipline feels in your daily rhythm. Perhaps it is the resistance you muster to close that extra browser tab when your mind screams for novelty, or the resolve to complete that difficult project rather than abandon it at the first sign of discomfort. These moments are crucibles in which intelligence is forged. The mind that masters its urges develops clarity. The spirit that tames its passions gains serenity. Over time, what once required effort becomes second nature, a testament to the transformative power of persistent practice. Emotionally, discipline is not a cold austerity, but a wellspring of confidence. When you follow through on your commitments, whether to study, to practice, or to pause for meditation, you reinforce in yourself the belief that you are dependable and capable. Marcus Aurelius urges us to be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved, and the raging of the sea falls still around it. This rock-like resolve arises only through repeated acts of self-control, each one building upon the last until the tempest of desire and doubt no longer sweeps us off course. Yet discipline is not rigid inflexibility. The Stoics also teach the virtue of timing and moderation. Just as a skilled archer adjusts tension in the bowstring to find the perfect shot, we must calibrate our efforts, avoiding both indulgent laxity and punishing rigor. Balance emerges when discipline is guided by wisdom, ensuring that rest and recovery are honored alongside work and effort. In practical terms, begin by identifying one small area for self-discipline. A fixed time to read a chapter of philosophy each day, a commitment to batch process emails rather than respond instantly, or a vow to observe one difficult emotion without giving into it. Reflect each evening on your victories and lapses, not in judgment, but as data for improvement. Over time, these disciplined practices will coalesce into a resilient inner framework. As you forge your path of unyielding self-discipline, remember that each disciplined choice is a quiet act of rebellion against chaos. It is a testament to your capacity for clarity, to the strength of your inner domain. Let every act of self-restraint be an affirmation. I am the master of my mind, and through this mastery, I cultivate the brilliance of true intelligence. 3. Mastery of emotions. Mastery of emotions is the silent fortress within which true intelligence finds both refuge and strength. The Stoics understood that the heart and mind are not separate kingdoms, but intertwined realms. To cultivate wisdom, one must learn to navigate the tides of feeling with the same clarity that one examines the currents of thought. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. In that single line lies the essence of emotional mastery, recognizing that while we cannot always choose what arises within us, we can choose how to respond. Imagine a storm at sea. The waves rage, fear, grief, jealousy threaten to capsize. Your vessel, a mind untrained in emotional mastery, is at their mercy. But the Stoic sailor does not attempt to calm the sea. Rather, he steadies the rudder, adjusting his course so the waves pass under him. Epictetus, once a slave yet sovereign in spirit, taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is not a call to suppress feelings as if they were unwelcome guests to be unceremoniously chased away. Rather, it is an invitation to greet each emotion, observe its contours, and then decide its place in your inner life. Seneca, in his letter on anger, warns, "Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it. When we allow anger to surge unchecked, it blinds us to reason, leading to words we later regret and actions that betray our better selves. Yet when we learn to pause, label the emotion, feel its energy without immediate reaction, we transform anger from a wildfire into a controlled flame, illuminating the path to understanding rather than scorching everything in its path." Emotional mastery also means cultivating gratitude and joy, not merely as reactions to external goods, but as deliberate choices of perspective. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Dwell on the beauty of life, watch the stars, and see yourself running with them." Here, he teaches that by directing our attention, we can foster calm and wonder even in hardship. The same mind that can spiral into anxiety at the onset of uncertainty can also lift itself, like a kite against the wind, into a place of openness and possibility. Practically speaking, emotional mastery unfolds through simple, repeated practices. Begin by pausing for a single breath when you sense strong emotion rising. Notice its quality. Is it tightness in the chest, a knot in the stomach, a clenching in the jaw? Name it silently. This is fear, or this is impatience. By doing so, you create space between impulse and action. That space is your freedom. Over time, this practice rewires the mind, transforming reflexive reactivity into considered response. Emotionally intelligent individuals also engage in what Stoics called the evening review. Before rest, they reflect on moments when emotions swayed them, where they faltered, and where they prevailed. This review is not self-flagellation, but a compassionate inquiry. What triggered me? How did I respond? What can I learn for tomorrow? Each reflection becomes a stepping stone toward deeper equanimity and mastering emotions. We do not become insensate automata. Rather, we emerge as fully alive beings, capable of experiencing the richness of feeling without being overwhelmed by it. We become architects of our inner climate, inviting serenity in place of chaos, resilience in place of surrender, and in that steadiness, intelligence, that lantern of the mind shines its brightest, guiding us through life's tempests with unwavering clarity. 4. Adaptability to change. Adaptability to change is the art of bending without breaking, a principle at the very heart of Stoic resilience. Life, the Stoics instruct us, is a river in ceaseless flow. To cling rigidly to any fixed image of how things should be is to set ourselves up for frustration and suffering. As Marcus Aurelius counseled, observe constantly that all things take place by change, and accustom yourself to consider that the nature of the universe loves nothing so much as to change the things which are, and to make new things like them. In these words lies an invitation to welcome change not as an intruder, but as an indispensable partner on our journey toward wisdom. At its deepest level, adaptability is rooted in the Stoic understanding of logos, the rational, ordering principle of the cosmos. If the universe itself shifts shape without complaint, how much more should we, as rational beings, learn to flow with its currents? Epictetus, once a slave who endured the caprices of many masters, proclaimed, "Whoever is defeated, here's the real defeat, to be discouraged." But it is just the essence of a wise man's soul to choose not to be discouraged by that which he cannot control. He didn't argue for passive resignation, but for a courageous embrace of our limitations. The weather of external events is beyond our governance, yet how we navigate those storms is our sovereign domain. Emotionally, adaptability softens the harsh edges of disappointment. When plans dissolve, whether through an unexpected job loss, a sudden illness, or a relationship that falters, our instinct is often to cling desperately to what was. Yet, Seneca reminds us in his Consolation to Helvia, no man is crushed by misfortune unless he has first been deceived by prosperity. Prosperity, in this sense, is our illusion of permanence. When we release that illusion, The shocks of life lose their power to unseat us. We become like the trees that bow in the wind yet stand firm at their roots. Practically cultivating adaptability begins with reframing events as neutral phenomena, neither good nor bad, until our judgments color them so. Suppose a project you've poured your heart into unravels. Rather than see it as a final defeat, ask, what can this teach me? Where might new possibilities lie hidden? By consciously labeling change as a teacher rather than a tyrant, you transform disruption into a crucible for growth. Stoic adaptability also thrives on small, daily exercises. Consider adopting the practice of premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Each morning, imagine a few things that could go awry: an unexpected email, a traffic delay, a miscommunication, and mentally rehearse how you would respond with equanimity. This is not pessimism, but preparation. By lighting small candles of anticipation in the cool darkness of uncertainty, you reduce the shock when challenges arrive. Emotionally, these exercises cultivate a buoyant spirit. You begin to feel the thrill of navigating uncharted waters, discovering reserves of ingenuity and courage you never knew you possessed. Each time you meet change with composure, you reinforce the inner conviction that you can weather whatever storms lie ahead. Over time, this becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more you adapt, the more you trust in your capacity to do so. Ultimately, adaptability to change is more than a coping strategy. It is a celebration of life's dynamism. It teaches us that stability does not mean immobility, but rather an unshakable core that welcomes motion in every direction. As Marcus Aurelius closes his meditations, he urges us to love only what happens, what was destined. No greater harmony. In this harmony between self and world lies the greatest gift of adaptability, the freedom to dance unafraid upon life's ever-turning stage. 5. Rigorous critical thinking. Rigorous critical thinking is the anvil upon which the hammer of intelligence forges its finest insights. The Stoics regarded clear, logical thought not as a cold exercise in arithmetic, but as an essential life skill, one that separates fleeting opinions from lasting truths. Marcus Aurelius soberly observes, everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. In these words lies a profound challenge: to pierce through the haze of hearsay and perception, and to anchor ourselves in careful, reasoned judgment. At its philosophical core, Stoic critical thinking arises from the doctrine of logos, the rational principle, woven into the fabric of the cosmos. If the universe itself unfolds according to reason, so too must our inquiries reflect that same order. Epictetus enjoins us, first learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak. This counsel invites us to slow down, to interrogate our language and concepts before projecting them onto the world. In practice, this means holding our ideas up to the light, examining their edges for cracks of inconsistency, and being willing to discard those that cannot withstand scrutiny. Seneca, 2, warns against the seduction of shallow thinking. Associate with people who are likely to improve you. Though at first glance this may read as social advice, it also speaks to the nourishment of the mind. By engaging with voices that challenge our preconceptions through books, discourse, or even internal dialogue, we subject our beliefs to a dialectic process that refines them. Like ore in a furnace, true critical thinking is not solitary meditation alone, but the vigorous back and forth of thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. Emotionally, this rigor can feel uncomfortable. It demands that we admit what we do not know, and sometimes confront truths that unsettle our self-image. Yet, as Marcus Aurelius reminds us, if Samiana can show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth, by which no one was ever truly injured. His words carry a gentle but resolute invitation to welcome corrective feedback, transforming potential embarrassment into an opportunity for growth. In concrete terms, rigorous critical thinking unfolds through a few key practices. First, pause. Before accepting any claim, ask, what is the evidence? How reliable are the sources? Could there be alternative explanations? This habit of inquiry inoculates us against rash judgments and the sway of emotional bias. Second, practice active listening, another gift from Epictetus's teaching that we have 2 ears and 1 Mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. By genuinely hearing others, especially those with differing viewpoints, we gather the raw material needed for sound analysis. Finally, cultivate intellectual humility. Recognize that certainty is rare and that every understanding is provisional. Seneca writes, "As is a tale, so is life. Not how long it is, but how good it is what matters." In the same spirit, the quality of our thinking matters more than its speed or volume. When we approach each problem with patience, curiosity, and disciplined judgment, we honor the Stoic ideal of the examined life. Through rigorous critical thinking, we become less like the ship adrift in a storm and more like the skilled navigator, charting a clear course. We learn to distinguish the shallow shoals of assumption from the deep waters of insight. And in doing so, we wield intelligence not as a parlor trick, but as a steadfast companion on life's unpredictable voyage. 6. Reflective humility. Reflective humility is the gentle soil from which the deepest wisdom springs. In the Stoic vision, true greatness does not rise on the pillars of pride, but is rooted in the quiet acknowledgement of our limitations. As Marcus Aurelius writes, "Do not consider yourself superior to others, for you have not experienced what they have experienced." This reminder beckons us toward an openness of heart, a readiness to learn not only from our triumphs, but also from our mistakes, from the wisdom of strangers, and the silent counsel of our failures. At its philosophical core, reflective humility flows from the Stoic conviction that human knowledge is ever unfinished. Epictetus declared, "A man can't learn what he thinks he already knows." This paradox that certainty impoverishes inquiry urges us to adopt a posture of beginner's mind, where every conversation, every setback, every unexpected turn carries the possibility of revelation. When we accept that we do not possess all the answers, the world transforms from a static backdrop into a living teacher. Seneca, in his letter to Lucilius, offers a stirring portrait of this humility in practice. As is a tale, so is life. Not how long it is, but how good it is what matters. He challenges us to measure our days not by accumulated accolades, but by the richness of reflection they yield. Each challenge becomes an invitation to ask, what did I learn? How did this moment change my understanding of myself and others? In this way, reflective humility becomes a daily habit, woven into the very texture of our lives. Emotionally, embracing humility can feel like stepping onto thin ice. We fear the chill of exposure, of admitting when we are wrong, of sharing our vulnerabilities. Yet it is precisely in this willingness to be vulnerable that our inner strength is revealed. When we say, "I was mistaken," or "teach me more," we dismantle the brittle edifice of ego and reveal a fortress of authenticity. Our relationships deepen, our minds widen, and our hearts soften with compassion for ourselves and others. Practically, cultivating reflective humility unfolds through two key practices. First, maintain a mental ledger of lessons learned. Each evening, take a few moments to review the day's events, where you erred, where you hesitated, and where you chose wisely. As Marcus Aurelius practiced his nightly reflections, he asked, "What did I do well? What could I improve tomorrow?" This ritual, repeated night after night, transforms experiences into enduring insights. Second, seek out corrective feedback. As though it were a rare elixir, approach trusted friends or mentors with openness. Invite them to point out blind spots in your reasoning or behavior. As Seneca advises on friendship, true friends love you for who you are, not for who you pretend to be. Welcome their honest counsel as a gift, one that refines character. Like a whetstone sharpens a blade, reflective humility also inspires servant leadership. When we lead from a place of vulnerability, we create space for others to bring forth their strengths and ideas. We listen more deeply, ask better questions, and build communities where collective wisdom can flourish. In doing so, intelligence ceases to be a solitary conquest and becomes a shared pursuit of the good. In the final measure, reflective humility is not a vanishing point, but a guiding star. It teaches us that every step forward in wisdom begins with the admission, "I do not know." From that humble threshold, we open the door to a lifetime of learning, compassion, and genuine human connection. Let us, then, carry this soft yet unbreakable virtue into every corner of our lives and discover, as the Stoics have shown, that true strength rises not from what we possess, but from what we are willing to relinquish our illusions of infallibility in service of a deeper truth. There you have it, 6 traits: relentless curiosity, unyielding self-discipline, mastery of emotions, adaptability to change, rigorous critical thinking, and reflective humility, each illuminated by the steady light of Stoic thought. These traits don't guarantee an absence of hardship, but they chart a course through life's storms with clarity, resilience, and purpose. Now, I invite you to take one small step today toward embodying these qualities. Perhaps you'll spend 5 minutes journaling a question that truly matters, or notice a fleeting emotion and trace its source. Maybe you'll challenge one assumption you've been holding onto, or consciously yield to a change you've been resisting. In these small acts lie the seeds of profound transformation. Thank you for joining me in this exploration. If you found value in our time together, I encourage you to like this video, share it with a friend who might benefit, and subscribe for more Stoic insights. Together, let's build a community committed to wisdom and action, one thoughtful choice at a time. Until next time, remain calm in the storms, mindful in the quiet moments, and ever open to the lessons life offers. Farewell, and may your journey be guided by the enduring wisdom of the Stoics.